Hello, welcome Randomania to the Friday night Final Fantasy IV free enterprise community race. My name is Rex Roll. I'm joined by Pixel Tamer tonight, and we've got a race. We're going to be taking a look at four of the participants of the race: Poidrak, Tybalt, PK4787, and Microcords. Tybalt, what do you think is the most interesting thing about tonight's race as far as the flags go?
Well, I don't think Tybalt will be able to answer that because he's currently racing, but I, as Pixel Tamer, can tell you that I love push
Uh,
me to jump, and I am very interested in seeing what kind of crazy loot we're able to get out of these wild treasure chests, even if we are only going to be able to open about 2/5 of them.
Yeah, the Sparse 40, and I apologize. I just see the name right in front of my eyes, and that's the only thing that I can think of for some reason. I don't even know, but I agree. The fact that we've got wild flags but Sparse 40 is a really interesting combination.
Yeah, before we get too far off of Tybalt, he does have some neat Zelda names going on there.
Yeah, maybe that's why I've got him on the mind right now. But we've got the jump for your love is the theme, and jump is a big part of it because push B to jump really kind of fundamentally changes the way you look at Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise because so much is available right away, and so much is available without needing to fight anything.
Exactly. This is our April Fool's 2020 flag. Uh, it does exactly what you think it does. You press the B button, you jump. You can do this in combat with any character. You can do this on the overworld and in dungeons. This means you can do every check in the overworld immediately. You can jump over Dark Elf to get the item in Magnus Cave. You can jump over the first boss and the second, and the Golbez NPC in the Tower of Zot to go straight up there. You can go down the hook route without fighting any bosses, get a free character that way. On the moon, you can skip the fight at the Ribbon Altar if you just want to peek those two key items, and you can skip the boss in the Sealed Cave. There's probably a couple other skips, but the main gist of it is you can do lots of silly things and break the logic in all kinds of fun ways.
And character is one of the character checks is going to be something really important because we only have three flags tonight, or excuse me, three objectives, but those three objectives do need to be completed, and one of them is a character check, and that is to find Rosa. So the fact that we're able to get those character checks for free right off the top of the back is pretty big when one of the objectives that we need to complete is a character check.
Right, and speaking of the flags, one thing we should point out is that we have N characters turned on, but we have not turned on N key. That means instead of having to do a demist hunt, our runners can just go talk to Edward in Troya and get a free key item that way.
Yep,
We're off.
no bonus round for Demas today. And Edward is going to be the second character, and we know where Galvez is. So we've got that right off the bat too. So if you want to avoid Galvez, you avoid Baron Castle. Well, that doesn't mean that you have to avoid all of Baron Castle because you can go in and loot it because you can jump too.
Oh, you don't have to fight Golbez at all in this scene. If you go in Baron through the front door and jump over the guards and go straight up into the throne room, you skip that first encounter because it triggers when you enter the room from the left. So we will not be fighting Golbez this scene unless somebody is really looking for a way to power up a Fusoya.
Well, and also it's like one of the big skills in push B to jump flags is knowing exactly where those tiles that trigger events or trigger battles are, and so you know exactly where to jump over or what places to avoid using alternate exits that are available to you via jumping. And we see Microcorps jumping his way into Baron Castle, whereas Poidrak heading over to check that key item in Toria.
Oh, there's a Rosa. Dr. Luggage is guarding Rosa in Baron Inn, and we got a pass from Bedward.
Yeah, a couple really nice things found already. Meanwhile, PK4787 heading down into Evelyn Cave, gonna get the character check in there for free. Might also go all the way into the underground to have that unlocked at this point, because if you're already here, you might as well get that done, right?
Exactly.
And now the question is, now Tybalt knows where Rosa is. The question is, how soon do you make that play to get Rosa? She's not only an objective, she's also a really good character and somebody that you might want to invest in leveling for that final fight.
Exactly. Of our available white mages, Rosa is strongest in the end game, and you'll want to get her sooner rather than later so you can start powering her up. We see Dark Elf guarding Yang on Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, I don't think Yang is a super high priority with the T Wild flags on for treasures. Even with Sparse 40, getting the really good equipment for melee characters like Cecil and Kane shouldn't be as difficult as it would be in other situations where you have to rely on either buying them or being lucky in chests. So I can see not prioritizing doing a boss fight to get Yang at this point in time. That might
Right.
change as the seed goes on, though.
Right. Speaking of boss fights and characters, we saw that we have a Kane as our character in Cave Eblin, and we're going to be skipping out on one of the free fights. The second boss of the hook route is either the Baron Guards or the Kaiba Soldiers, and you can skip both fights going through the hook route in Push B to Jump.
And by having those free fights be skippable ones, that's kind of unfortunate. You in Push B to Jump, you'd really want to have those free fights be in ones that you still have to fight end up in the end. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but still, you're not gonna take your time to do it either way.
Yeah, and one kind of interesting unintended balance thing about Push B to Jump is it actually weakens Fusoya a little bit because
Yeah.
you don't fight as many bosses in Push B to Jump typically. Like, you skip 2 out of 3 bosses of Ordeals, for example, and so you're just not going to unlock Fusoya as quickly unless you're playing with a vanilla Fusoya flag.
Yeah, his value definitely is different in this set without a doubt, especially with a small number of objectives like this, where there's a real possibility that you can get everything done a lot faster than in a traditional non-push B to jump world.
Yeah, and it looks like PK already jumped his way down to the underground. I did not see what the boss of top of tower was.
And looks like the key item in the bottom of Cave Magnus is Mirasame. And another unfortunate side effect of Push B to Jump is the lack of the music. You don't usually see it during the course of gameplay.
That's right, because you just get to skip over that spot.
But yeah, PK now fully in the underground, and Tybalt's going to be pretty close behind, also going through that Eblin, or right now in the tower, going through the pitfall. PK now in the bottom tower of town of Tomra. We're going to see, and we
we've got
do
a museum curator.
Museum curator has been found. We've got a job dwarf check. And Koidrek now is making that plunge. Looks like our runners are really prioritizing getting that access to the underground as quickly as possible. It kind of just gives that extra free key item check in the Fame Arch like you normally would get by getting underground. And that's just another free key item that's available right off the bat to all of our runners just for it being a Push B to Jump flag. Between that and the free key item check in Toria from Bedward, you've got a lot of free key item checks already done right off the bat. Plus, we already know where Rosa is, so our runners are off to a pretty good head start. And I think usually in this, the character check is going to be the most difficult one to find, but we've already found her, so
Exactly.
so we just got the other two, the completing Zot and finding that Sand Ruby. That Sand Ruby might be something that's going to plague our runners too. We'll see.
Yeah, and our runners can do Zot whenever they want. Like I said, they can just jump past the bosses and the gates. So really, we know where the pass is, don't we? So we are in go mode as soon as we find that Sand Ruby.
The Sand Ruby is going to be what we need to find in order to complete it. You can go to the Tower of Zot and jump out without fighting the bosses and get the characters. Since we know where Rosa is, I don't think that's going to be a super high priority because you're going to want to do it when you can beat that second boss.
Oh, that's a vanilla rat tail.
Tower of Zot.
Yeah, and one thing we discovered through the Jumping Club earlier this year was in the Tower of Zot, Rosa learns exit when you recruit the character, not when you defeat the boss.
Oh, that's a pretty interesting find too. So that might be a reason to go up there earlier as well.
Oh, we've got a turtle at the Asura spot. That's not nice.
Yeah, I'm sure that PK is hoping that that is not where the Sand Ruby is.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of places we can check beforehand. Oh, nice.
Yeah, all the overworld key item checks are still up for grabs as well. as well, and we'll get the Sheila 1 check available to us for free. Yet another free key item that's going to be available right off the top of the game.
Yeah, many runners like to try and do Fabul in as few trips as possible since it takes time, and at least in jumping flags, you are guaranteed to be able to do it in at most 2 trips. And Poidrak gave us a peek at the boss at top of tower, and it was Baigan.
That's, in general, a pretty fair place for Baigan. It's not a super strong physical attack up at the top. It does have a pretty beefy hit point total, though, so probably needs some levels before trying to tackle that boss.
Completely agree.
Talk about now getting the news of that Kane Anso at the Ashura spot. There's also a Mylon sitting next door. If that's Mylon Z in that spot, that could be a pretty scary fight too.
It could also be very easy. We have Cecil, and if we can get him in the back row with like a crystal armor or any other kind of anti-undead gear, we can just do cover strats and win trivially.
I think the best armor we've had so far is
Mylon and Friends. We've got an entirely different story. Sorry, please go ahead.
Well, Mylon and Friends isn't going to be too scary. We've got Dragoon armor. We've got. I'm sure we can find other like diamond rings and things like that to help with that. But Mylon Z has a very strong physical attack. If we're not able to find a good armor for Cecil, then that could be a problem too. Because that is a very strong physical attack spot.
Indeed, it's one of the highest in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up there with Bahamut and the Wyvern spots.
The CPU is also pretty beefy too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, my rule of thumb is if the boss does not use any physical attacks, then be scared if there's a physical boss there.
And we saw some Soma drops for sale here in Thaymarch. We don't know if anybody will be giving Kane MP yet, but that we can certainly give more MP to a Tala or a Fusoya if we come across one. Make them just get up to a nice multiple of 100. Just makes everything go a little bit smoother.
PK utilizing some more of the push B to jump to avoid bosses up here on Mount Ordeals. You only have to fight the third boss, which is the easiest boss of the 3. Only about 1,000 hit points there. And we get a Paladin for our efforts, and we get the key item check as well.
Only a Magnet Key tonight, so not useful right now, but at least we get a relatively weak set of Mega Sisters.
Yeah, Mega Sisters can be scary in certain spots. It's nice to get them out of the way, and also to get your Cecil powered up, because Paladin Cecil, especially with these wild chests, is something that you're going to want in your team pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's no XP for this spot, but at least we get a potentially nasty boss out of the way.
Looks like Tybalt now making his way to the Cave Magnus. It's going to get that Mazamune. We'll see if it's worth it to keep it at this point. We haven't found an edge yet. And so you could save time by just resetting out of it. Or you could take it kind of on speculation that you may get an edge and have a really good weapon for him when you do find him. But there's no guarantee that we are going to see him with today's flags either.
Right, we've got C Distinct 7 and C Maybe, which means at most 7 characters going to appear in this seed.
And 2 of them were taken off right away, you knew, with Cecil and Rosa. We also got Edward right at the top, so the number of them that are going to be available gets smaller and smaller as time goes on. Oh, we've got Kane as well, so odds of seeing an Edward an Edge at this point gets pretty low.
Yeah, it's not great, but like you said, we have Cecil, we have Kane, we have Rosa. That's going to be enough to get through Zeromus.
Absolutely. I don't think that there's we don't have a difficult party to deal with. This is a pretty powerful squad. I'm just saying that it just depends on whether or not you want to invest the time on getting that Mirasame or Mazamune, whichever one it was. It was a legendary katana.
I think it was Amura.
And
And part of the reason our runners might have been keeping the item instead of resetting out was looting in other spots in the Cape Magnus. I think I saw a cat claw at the very least as an option. So if we want to go get that Yang up and running, that'll help. Poitras finding a Moon Veil in the tower over in Dwarf Castle, which is pretty hype.
yeah, moon veils are always good. And worst comes to worst, you could always sell those extra money too. Sword is extra money. My words are not working tonight.
English is hard. Let's play video games.
Running into the sparse flag in the other tower, though, for Poidrak, those empty chests can be pretty trolly sometimes. The Moon Veil being the big reward, though, in Dwarf Castle, I think.
Yeah, meanwhile, Tybalt is climbing the Tower of Zot. We're going to see 2 more character checks. We're going to see more bosses. And we may or may not get go mode, depending on what our reward is.
Yeah.
Oh, Sheila's got the goods. That was a Darkness Crystal from Sheila 1.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if Tybalt checks that boss to see if we can get through Zot this early as well. He's still running with Dark Knight Cecil here.
Right, we have not fought a lot of bosses yet, so our party is going to be weaker. And, like, even if you have good armor, you still need to have some amount of stats to back it up. Oh yeah, that's a base level party. We're probably going to check the characters and jump on out. Unless we get, like, a Fu and an Edge.
It looks like he is equipping up Kane, so just in case there's a chance, there's a couple bosses that could be pretty free still. But I think even like King Queen is going to be pretty devastating at base level here. We'll see.
Yeah, King Queen could be fine if Edward can hide quickly enough.
Yeah. Oh, another Rosa. So looks like Tybalt won't have to complete Baron Inn unless that's where the Sand Ruby is.
Right. And we also know that now that Valbalis is our second boss in Dwarf Castle.
And that is another Kane. We do have no duplicate characters in this, so we don't get another Kane added to the squad. Okay, so now Poidrak heading up to Mount Ordeals. Ooh, that is Wyvern with, well, just a stone opening, but that's going to be tough to get through quickly. We'll see if Poidrak has better luck than PK here. PK making a second attempt here at the Mega Sisters.
Yeah, the damage is going to be challenging here. Or we just have Dragoon Spear Kane deal 5,000 damage with jump. Do that twice and you're good.
Yeah, as long as Kane doesn't get hit with this nuke, he might be good. Or this nuke.
Please, Kane, jump. Jump for your life. It literally depends on it.
Or this nuke. No. Ooh, that is pretty fast.
Yep. Battle speed going down. We're going to try it again.
That might make the difference. Looks like PK is having better luck this time. Is able to defeat those Mega Sisters. So now has the Paladin Cecil on the team for good. Like Microchords opening some chests in the Sylph Cave, found some Mazamune. Again, another legendary katana for Edge. We'll see if that comes into play. But
yeah, if we find our ninja, he'll have great equipment. One thing I'm curious about is we haven't seen anybody loot Castle Dampian yet, right?
At least one of the runners did. I remember seeing a lot of already open chests.
Okay. Because like that and Antlion Cave are very accessible, very good sources of gear on T-Wild.
Right.
And on Tybalt's side, we do see the demonstration of push, beat, or jump on in combat. We see that Rosa jumping and contributing some damage, impersonating her friend Kane.
And looks like Kane was able to get up for the second jump. Hopefully the damage rolls are good enough that this will be enough.
The first one was a little low, so... Oh, so the second one was low. But we got there.
It's enough, though. It was enough. And I believe he just needs the Sand Ruby now. So if this gives him the Sand Ruby, he'll be in go mode.
Exactly, and we're going to get Objective 1, we're going to get Objective 3, and we're just in a key item hunt for Tybalt. And would not be surprised if we saw some Eddie strats at that point.
Poydrak going in for round 2 against those Mega Sisters. They've been pretty tough so far. Tower key for the completing of Mount Tower of Zot. Not a terrible prize. It gives another key item check, and it's not a difficult boss to defeat. So, all in all, could be much worse.
Yeah, and looks like we're gonna clear up Baron Inn while we're here. We'll try to get second Rosa. We'll be disappointed at no dupes. We've got Dr. Cutscene as our first fight here.
Looks like Microcords has also found an Avenger for his Kane, so that's a very good weapon for either Kane or Paladin Cecil. So very good equips there.
Yeah, and
we've got access, of the wild.
Yeah, we've got access to Dragoon Spears as well, so that those Canes are going to be beastly. And there's a Mist Dragon. We're not so excited about it this time because we don't have Enki turned on, but like it's a boss. It's gonna hurt at this spot, but yeah.
The nice thing about this spot though is having 4 characters means you're gonna win the fight. It might take a while, but you're gonna win because you always have time to recover while it's in its mist form.
Exactly.
And it's only gonna knock out 3 of your characters at most, so it might take a little while. The Dragoon Spear helps. Kane's pretty strong at this point, even though his levels are low.
Sure. The Dragoon Spear is useful for its attack power, but we're not going to get the type advantage since Eidolons don't count as dragons.
Right. That's why you're seeing about 1k damage here versus the upwards of like 4k that you were seeing against the Wyvern. But it's still a very good weapon. I believe he's got a bandana and maybe a power robe, might be a Dragoon Spear or Dragoon armor. I know that there's been some power robes found on some of our runners. Which ones have it? I don't always remember.
Yeah, I think Tybalt's Cane has the bandana and the power shirt.
Yeah.
Huh, looks like Cecil's jump animation there was his Dark Wave. That's kind of neat. Thank you for the info, Skyla. Alright.
And looks like PK has gotten through that fight. We've got another power robe as the reward for this fight. So, but that's where PK completes objective number 1 and getting Rosa, because he hasn't gone up through Zot like Tybalt has.
Right. One of the really cool things about jumping is just the sheer divergence you can have because everything is so open.
Yeah, it also makes it a little bit hard to call because we're going to be missing stuff because there's crazy things happening in all 4 screens at the same time. Looks like Poydrak does want to go to that Antlion Cave, do that low-level key item check, and I can't blame him for that. Also wants to do some looting, as you mentioned before, Pixel. Very good place to try to pick up some gear here. Once we've got Paladin Cecil, getting some gear for him becomes really important as well.
Yeah, and thankfully both Cecil and Kane are pretty flexible as far as what weapons they're willing to use.
Yeah.
So, will hopefully not be too hard.
We get Calbrena. We've got some AoE. It doesn't look like there's many good items, but if we can power through these 6 fights quickly, or these 6 attacks quickly to get all the dolls down, we might avoid Big Doll. But even if Big Doll does happen, I don't think the team's going to be too scared at this place.
Yeah, and Poitrak did have some Thor Rages in inventory. Only 2, but you're going to need more than 2 for Kainatsu anyway, so you might as well throw 1 here to get through this faster.
The only counter thing is you might want to wait if you might need it against that turtle down in the Feymarch.
Right, but he only had 2, and you're definitely going to need more than 2 at that spot.
Well, if you can use those 2 to get it so you do enough damage so that the wave isn't as deadly, you might be okay at that point. But in any case, Poitrak gets the pan for completing this, and now can complete Fabul in 1 go if he wants.
Yep, and it looks like Tibble did some shenanigans to jump over the trigger for the Fabul defense cutscene. Got a defense sword for his trouble, which is arguably Kane's strongest weapon.
I think it's probably his best kind of default weapon. There are situations where you want to have other things for him. Elemental weaknesses, dragon weaknesses. Don't worry about counterattacks, so switch to Avenger situations, but I like the defense sword as the base level attack.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very good all-rounder. Yeah, we've got a nope rope over here at Fabul Defense.
Yeah, if you have a few battles under your belt already, getting through this shouldn't be too bad, especially with the push speed to jump. That always makes things a little bit better. But still not a free one. And how about still rolling with that Dark Knight Cecil? So that's another thing that's not a lot of attack power from that guy.
Not so much. DKC is kind of weak. In the vanilla game, a lot of early enemies are weak to dark, so that he seems more powerful than he is. But we got through with Kane with Dragoon Spear doing jumping shenanigans, dodging those potential extra big waves.
Yeah, that vulnerability to dark also means a weakness to, or a strength against holy. So if you're wondering why your crystal swords don't hit dark, D-Mist or Octoman very much, that's why.
Right, many things in this game are said as, well, if you're weak to this, you're resistant to that.
Exactly.
And we got a hook from our Fabul defense. So we have we have full access to Underground if we didn't already have that. But, Rat Tail is now a viable check, and we've got 4 runners who have Rat Tails.
Yeah, that's one of the kind of weird places that seems like you might be able to jump there, but nope, you can't jump to the Adamant Grotto. You still need the hook.
Yeah, I guess you can't jump on the rocks.
Yeah, just a little bit too far away. The pan kind of was a bust, though. Sheila 2 just giving the glass hat, and I think it was an apple for the pan turn-in down in the Silk Cave.
Yeah.
So unfortunate for Poitrak. Investing that time into the Antlion Cave didn't end up really. I mean, the glass hat, there are definite uses for it, but it's not what we're looking for when we know we're basically a Sand Ruby away from Go mode.
Right, and Gambit confirming in chat, yeah, it was an apple and a glass hat from the pan and Sheila, and also saying that Rat Tail turned into a life staff. Never going to be unhappy to get a life staff. It is very good for powering up your white magic. Rosa could totally do endgame with that.
And I believe for Microcorps, this is going to be round 2 against the Wyvern. I believe the Wyvern got the best of Microcorps the first time. But we do have that objective number 3, and so that Wyvern fight is going to be required at some time. And if you think you can do it now, I can't, fault anybody for trying again, because you just got to get it done, and you don't want to take even with push speed to jump, it's still a bit of a walk to go up and down that Tower of Zod.
Exactly. I did see a Dwarf Axe in Microcore's inventory. PK is checking our Moon character. We have got third Rosa.
So many Rosa, but no dupes.
Yeah, we are not allowed to have Rosa percent today.
Looks like Tybalt has made the big doll, takes it down without too much problem. Might have recognized that if I just kill all the red dolls, let them, it might be faster than trying to knock them all down, especially with Dark Knight Cecil still in the team.
Right. PK doing some jumping around on the overworld is going to go check out the Lunar Pass. Probably going to throw an hourglass on these hair dryers and get some early experience.
Yeah, a good way to kind of turbocharge the team right here. When you've got access to those hourglasses, this is a really good fight to use it on at this point in the game, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, Edward gets KO'd before he can throw the hourglass.
Yeah, that's not going to help too much.
Rosa gets there with the second one, so we can just heal up and we can dry our hair successfully.
Yeah, that hourglass 3 lasts quite a while. I think we'll have enough time to handle these 4 enemies. Looks like Poydrak about to get that life staff for the returning of the rat tail. That's going to be a very good thing to have on Rosa. It makes her healing a lot better. It's the best staff in the game for her. If you want to use her as an attacker, it's better or bows and arrows are better options. But we've got a lot of beaters in this team with Cecil, Kane, Yang all available to us. So having that white staff for the healer seems very strong.
Yep, and depending on how this seed goes, we could potentially have an Adamant Spoonword.
Do we have adamants here?
Yeah, we have Adamants turned on.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, that's pretty strong too.
Yeah, we're all used to no Adamants from Threemus Zone, but we're starting to turn them back on in some of the events, and that lets you do silly things.
Now, the other option here that PK might take is to not have Edward gain experience here and try to use him as the anchor, because we don't have vanilla agility on either. Another thing that we were used to in the Threemus Zone. So having a low-level character like it won't exactly be base level, but still a low-level Edward with lower agility be the anchor for the team might not be a bad idea either.
Yeah, we get a lot of flexibility now that we can use whoever we want to anchor again.
Yeah, Cecil becomes all upside again. And looks like Tybalt's going to go ahead and follow the path of that tower key, and we know that Baigen's up at the top. Tybalt's still trying to avoid that Mount Ordeals check, still rolling with that Dark Knight Cecil. We'll see if he wants to tangle with Baigen at the top, or just wants to go with a half tower check and go with that tower key.
Yep, and we've got a blue robe at the Odin spot, and it is the Gauntlet.
That's kind of nasty. In the Odin spot, this pulls from the Fey March. And yeah, the Microcord 6 reset there, that's a bit tougher a fight than he wants to tussle with at this point in time.
And D-Lunars at the tower key, that's actually not a bad spot to see them.
I totally agree with you there. It's a relief to fight it, because this is another one of those fights that in some of the higher level spots is one of the more dangerous ones that are out there. Here, having it be low level attacks or low hit point totals really means that you can just tank one fire and you've got both of them out, and then you don't have to think about them anymore.
Yep, PK checks the shop in Mysidia, finds some silk webs. Always happy to find those.
I'd like to have at least one for Zeramis. If you have some more for other fights that are a little bit more difficult than you'd like to, especially in the speed department, having some extra of those is really nice as well. And looks like Tybalt wants to go out, so just doing the half tower play right now. The Penguinator special going back down the tower, does not want to fight Baigen at the top of the tower, but we will get the key item check once he exits the tower of battle here.
Right. In the randomizer, we don't stop you from re-entering the tower after you've defeated the boss in the tower key. We don't want to lock you out of a potential check that you may not have done yet.
Yeah, and in fact, even if you complete both bosses, you could go back in. So,
yeah, like you might want to take an edge and go steal some sirens, for example.
Absolutely.
And that's an apple for our trouble.
And looks like PK is ready to check the Dwarf Castle checks. Now, we know that the second fight in this is going to be Valvolus from the Tower of Zot that we've seen before. Looks like the first fight's going to be Odin. So the first fight is actually kind of challenging.
That's right. Odin will hit kind of hard here, and we don't have a great source of lightning damage to take advantage of that elemental weakness. So it may be challenging to get in enough damage before that Zantetsuken.
Poydrak facing the mandatory Wyvern as well. Has 5 members on his team, though. Taking up that Yang might really help in this fight, being able to spread out the nukes, but don't like to see King get hit with the nukes in that fight.
Yeah, we absolutely need Kane with the Dragoon Spear dealing the heavy damage to get through this fight.
Looks like we are going with some cover strategies against that Odin to try to keep Kane alive. It looks like he's being berserked here. That's probably going to be the fastest way to try to avoid it, and gets past that Odin, so well played there by PK.
Yeah, and we see Tybalt reset out of the glass hat and is choosing to go up Mount Ordeals and promote his paladin.
Yeah, he's done a lot with that Dark Knight. He's gotten a lot of the checks done without needing to do this, but he also needs to know whether or not this is where the Sand Ruby actually is as well.
So one of the many fun things about Push P to Jump, as we've seen, you can jump in combat with anybody, and I believe that means anybody can dispel the tornado from Valhalla.
That is one kind of like ace that a boss can have that isn't as much of an ace anymore. However, sometimes it's better to keep her in her tornado form, especially when you can protect your characters with the cover from Cecil. So it doesn't look like we're going to see any jumping on this Valvalis. We're just going to see Kane get berserked by Rosa, and that's basically going to be enough.
Yeah, meanwhile, Tybalt is taking a fight against Dark Knight Cecil up on Ordeals. Maybe missed the jump and hit the boss trigger instead on the first spot.
That's kind of what I meant when I said earlier, just knowing exactly which spots are the trigger tiles that trigger those bosses. It's not going to affect it too much. That first boss spot is not very scary anyways, but that it does add a little bit more time.
Exactly. Did you happen to see who the character at Dwarf Castle was?
I did not. But I will watch for the key items so that I see that. Gambit says it was Yang, so I trust Gambit.
Alright, we get some punch magic, and we get a legend sword.
Since PK already has an adamant in his possession, we can turn that in for an Excalibur, and suddenly Cecil becomes really strong.
And we get access to a very good shop.
Yeah, that's not to be underestimated, too. In the pro, we have pro shops, right?
Yeah,
so
we're
this
on
would be
this
the
pro.
only place where we might be able to see like sirens or hourglasses.
Yes, this is the only shop in the game under these flags that has access to tier 5 items. Overworld shops are tier 3. Gated shops, including Cape Evelyn, are tier 4. So yeah, this will be our our only shot at finding Sirens, Bacchus, Hourglass, etc. in a store. And we find none of them. Unfortunate.
Strength rings are pretty good, though. When you've got a team of beaters like we've got here, who are able to swing swords like that, strength rings help a lot.
Strength rings are nice.
Not as nice as the Excalibur, but quite nice.
But if you take an Excalibur and then combine it with a strength ring...
Oh yeah, that is a powerful twofer there.
Of course, it is one of Yang's best accessories, second perhaps only to the Zeus Glove, as far as damage potential is concerned.
Poydrak makes short work of the Mist Dragon in Baron and gets that power robe.
Alright, so let's think about where we're at so far. We have done all of the overworld checks. We have done Dwarf. We have done Pan. We have done Tower Key, but we have not done Top of Tower. So we have...
Right.
So progression is going to be either on the Moon, or Feymarch Boss, or Top of Tower.
That's what we're looking at right now. And we haven't found Luca Keys, so no access to the Seal Cave. Can't jump your way into there.
Oh, we also have that Odin spot as a potential spot for progression with that gauntlet fight.
Yes. And has anybody... I don't believe anybody has completed the Baron boss there, too, properly.
Oh, Baron Castle? I think you might be right, actually. Yeah, I don't have anything in my notes about the boss of Baron Castle, so I think you're correct that the Baron has not been cleared yet.
Yeah, it looks like our tracker has confirmed nothing yet on Baron Castle. Yeah. So, yeah, big shout-outs to Enth on the tracking. Also to Scala Kitty doing the restreaming tonight. Big ups to our whole team. And also thanks to the Randomania Network. Wonderful partners with Free Enterprise putting on this community race on Friday nights.
Yes, and as Rex said, thank you to our behind-the-scenes people who let us just focus on saying silly things about a game we all enjoy.
Looks like both Tybalt and Microcorps now going with that big rail option. Going to be disappointed by getting another Rosa that they can't use. And then we'll see if we get if anybody decides to go deeper into the Moon, or if they want to go like that Baigan might be calling to me at this point too. I don't know.
Right, looks like Tybalt is going to go diving. Meanwhile, Poydrak gets a cane for defeating Plague and restoring the good health of the citizens of Baron.
What's going to be more important is what's in this trash can.
Right. What important thing has been thrown out this week?
PK finally picking up the pass. Might have been one of those situations where just forgot right at the top of the race, or might have been decided to route it in for when he's in Toria anyways. Twin Harp. Ooh. Sorry, swing and a miss there.
Yeah. Looks like Tybalt is going deep into the Moon, is almost certainly going straight to the Ribbon Room and is going to jump over the trigger for the Ribbon Boss and hopefully get a couple free key items.
And I'm sure he's hoping that one of them is the Sand Ruby. Meanwhile, it looks like Poydrak is heading down to that Odin spot. We'll see if he's going to try to tackle this alt gauntlet that we know is down here. I mean, his team is higher level than Microcorps was when he fought this. But I still think this is going to be a pretty tough fight at this point.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I think it's doable.
Yeah, he's going to have to play really well, which I think he's capable of, without a doubt. might also have to hope that he doesn't get unlucky with, like, exactly who gets attacked in certain spots as well.
Yeah, we successfully jumped over the D-Lunar spot. We've got a Protect Ring and a Luca Key from the Ribbon Room, so some good defensive gear and some potential progression.
Ooh.
And speaking of imps...
Yeah, getting the Dark Imps in the Vanilla Plague Room is a really nice find. This, especially on the push B to jump flags, but in general, you love it when you see the free fights up here on the moon.
Yeah, and Microkorgs is taking some random encounters on the moon. Might be looking to get some experience points off some dragons here.
Yeah, that certainly looks to be the case here.
As soon as we get that Dragoon Spear back on Kane, this will go very quickly. I believe the Gold Dragon has around 9,000 health.
Yeah, that's about right. Just a little bit less for the silver one. DK has got the advantage of having the Excalibur Cecil for the Wyvern fight. Unfortunately, an Excalibur doesn't protect you from being turned to stone.
Would you say that we now have a sword in the stone?
I think that is exactly what we see here. Although, I don't believe Excalibur was the Sword of the Stone.
Yeah, I am not too current on my Arthurian mythology, so I would have to ask somebody who knows more than me.
I believe Excalibur was given to Arthur by the Lady of the Lake, but
that sounds correct.
It's close enough.
Yes, I'm pretty sure Monty Python at least taught me that Excalibur came from the Lady of the Lake. Also, 37 is not old.
Not as old as the Arthurian legend is.
Yes, and chat pointing out that the Sword in the Stone is Caliburn. Thank you, chat.
Tybout also taking the opportunity to use the life glitch on these Dark Imps. Get a lot more experience. Well, you'll get experience for 5 Dark Imps instead of 3, and so that's a pretty good return on your investment of those life potions.
Yeah. Yeah, you can cast a life spell on pretty much anything in the game. Life 1/life potions, restore hit points to the target based on their vitality stat. Monsters have a vitality stat of 0, so they come back, they fall over again immediately, and you get credit for extra kills. It's a nice piece of grinding tech.
Yeah, as long as the mod is not undead, it does not work on zombies. But most of them, go for it. Dark Imps, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm reminded all of a sudden of that one boss from Final Fantasy X where you could, like, one-shot it by throwing a phoenix down on it. It was a giant undead sea serpent or something.
Yes, Evray.
That sounds right. In the Bevel cloister, I think.
That's the one. Microkorgs in that same fight. It looks like ooh, I missed something somewhere. Did Poitrak complete the Alt Gauntlet?
I don't see anything on the tracker. May have reset out of it.
Okay, reset out. Okay, I don't remember seeing either the Clapper or the Arachne ones, and those are the tough ones.
Yeah, one thing I noticed during that gauntlet is that it looked like the Callers were actually getting enemies local to Baron. Like, I saw Imps and Rockmoths as opposed to what I would expect to see from Feymarch enemies.
Well, Rockmoth is a Feymarch enemy, and the Summoner Imp there is definitely something you get in the Feymarch game. So, yeah.
Okay, it's just a different set of encounters than what I'm used to seeing, like if it's at the Asura spot or the Leviathan spot. Then. But we've worked
and it
through...
might be a different order too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but we are through the Dark Imps over on Tybalt's side. Let's see what we get for our trouble. Hey, there's half of Spoonward.
Well, we have the other half in our team. Edward.
Okay, so I guess we've got 2/3 of Spoonward then, because like we still need an Adamant. On the other hand, we do have Power Shirt, so that's a good substitute.
Oh, another free fight found on the moon over on PK's screen, the double guard fight.
Nice. That is pretty good. Even if we didn't have the Hourglass, we could just cast Size on them, and that would be done.
Well, if you cast Size on them, they can still do their counter magic, but...
Oh, right, because it's not Toad.
Yeah, and we don't have a black magic who has access to Toad. But still, the Hourglasses will do the trick.
Yeah, Tybalt doing a swag jump over the Masamune altar just to show that he can, and finds Asura.
Not anything that Tybalt wants to deal with at this point.
No fault whatsoever for that.
That is a scary, scary spot for Ashura if you don't have... If you had, like, a bunch of rune axes for your team, maybe. I don't know if he's got... Like, Poydrak has that Moonveil. The Moonveil would make it a lot safer as well.
Yeah, Moonveil is one of those. I just don't want to deal with his items. We got the Zeus Gauntlets from that guard fight, and it's going straight on to Cecil. And we are just going to give him all the strength gear.
He's gonna hit like a house. So Moon not paying off in the key item department, but supplying us with some actually doable bosses. So, I mean, so far it's been pretty interesting. I think this whole seed has been pretty interesting. This Sand Ruby has been very elusive. And there's another free fight on the moon.
Yeah. We haven't seen a ton of value from, like, progression value from the moon, but it's certainly been straightforward. If the moon is haunted, it's at least by Casper the Friendly Ghost.
That Ashura might be the scary one. That might be, you know, we've got a couple scary bosses out there right now. That Kinazo is still looming in the Ashura spot. Although having the Excalibur Cecil will definitely help get it manageable. But that's still out there. We've got that Ashura out there. We haven't seen anybody tangle with Baigan yet, although Poydrak is heading over to the Tower of Battle now.
Right, and we also have Edward with Spoon. So, like, we have a lot of physical damage potential in this party. And we've already dealt with the boss that doesn't like being physically attacked. Those D-Lunars are long gone.
Yeah, I believe Antlion's still out there, but we're getting to the point where the counters on the Antlion are more an issue with time than actual damage.
Oh, you know how I was saying we haven't gotten Adamant Armor for our Spoonward yet?
We've got an Adamant Armor now. We've got that pink tail.
Yeah. Asuka's watching here, right? I bet she'll be happy.
Although, you might still put it on Cecil, just because having Cecil in the back row for covering and being able to boost his attack with the Excalibur. I guess Tybalt doesn't have the Excalibur yet, so maybe it's not as prescient for him, but that's something that I would always consider as well.
Yeah, and the great thing about T-Wild is you could get second to Adamant.
That's true.
And we've got Mylon and friends at the Ribbon Room, which means it is Mylon Z in the Fey March.
With the Adamant Armor, that makes a cover strap for Mylon in the Fey March a lot more, like, you don't really have to worry at all at that point.
Yeah.
There's not anything better defensive.
Yeah, you throw Adamant and Cecil in the back row, you keep everyone else at 1 hit point, and that fight is free.
Pretty much. But the only one who's going to know that is PK, because you said this is the Ribbon Room, and so far everyone else has jumped over that spot. So
Correct.
PK is not going to have much of a problem with this fight, I don't think. And so it's going to get a decent amount of experience. He's got pretty good levels already, and this is just going to make his team even beefier. So it's basically all good for him at this point. This might be PK's strategy on how he wants to get the levels he wants for the Zeramis fight as well.
That's right. We don't have a lot of good grind options right now. We know that Sirens are not available in stores this seed. We have not found a weak caster. So the quote-unquote best easy grind we would have access to right now is Doors, I think.
Well, and the thing is with the Doors too, we might have to fight Doors if the Sand Ruby happens to be in the sealed cave, because Doors are not turned off when you turn off random encounters with his flag set tonight.
That's right, we do have E-Keep Doors. And Baigen went by too quickly. I did not see what that item was.
I believe it was a white shirt.
Chat confirms. Thank you, chat.
So Baigen, no progression there, but we're going to have a very powerful white wizard by the end of this fight, or by the end of this seed with Rosa.
Oh, yeah. Partly because T-Wild, but also partly because the key item rewards have been generous for white magic.
Yes. Well, now heading back to the blue planet, we'll see how early he prioritizes getting that adamant armor. With me, it's always like a kid in a candy store. I rush over to that adamant grotto right away and power up my party with the obscenely powerful adamant armor. But it looks like he's heading over towards Baron.
Yeah, like adamant armor makes everything go smoothly. Another good candidate for it might be Yang, since he scales so much based on strength.
Did Tybalt ever pick up Yang, though?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he doesn't have it. He's still rolling with only 4 characters at this point.
We're not doing Baron after all. Maybe Tybalt doesn't know that particular jump.
Either that, or it was just a pump fake to try to get me to call the wrong thing.
Or maybe we were feigning a Zemastone 3 setup for D-Machine Grind.
It could have been something like that, too. But it looks like it is going to be over to the Adamant Grotto. Get that Adamant armor. You earned it. Microcore is heading into Cave Bahamut, where we know there is always value.
Except when there isn't. But we don't talk about those times.
Ooh, I believe that looks like Antlion. That's a pretty scary place for Antlion to be hiding.
Yes, those the base physical attacks are going to be painful. The counterattacks, not so much, because it's based on magic. But you're going to need some good blink spells to survive this fight right now. Because Antlion is very punchy.
And I don't think we have any illusions in our inventory. So it's all going to be based on Rosa being able to get those blinks up.
Yeah, Illusion is a tier 4 item. They could show up in Underworld shops, but I don't think we've seen any yet. Yeah, Tybalt is back in Baron, so must have just chosen to go get the Adamant before jumping in here.
That makes sense, to do your prep before the fight. Microcore decided to reset out of that, just like when we saw Tybalt reset out of that Ashura fight. Totally understandable. There's other places that you can check that aren't going to be as dangerous right now.
Yeah, save slots are a resource here.
Mm-hmm. Bodrak going to take on Mylon Z here, and so he's at kind of a low level compared to some of our other runners right now. But that Excalibur was going to slice through the form pretty quickly. The physical attacks are going to be very strong, though, and so the question is, are we going to be able to survive long enough in order to deal the damage? Ooh, looks like, is that the protect ring that's doing the making it so Rosa only takes 1 damage from the attack?
Quite possibly.
If that gives undead resistance, then yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as we don't berserk Cecil, we're fine, because he will just cover Kane and keep him alive. Though Cecil's taking some pain there, so we might want to blink him as well.
Yeah, it's one of the situations where you kind of wish Rosa could cover. She's only taken 1 hit, or 1 damage.
Yeah, I think cross-class skills is something that the dev team has explicitly said they're not interested in doing, though.
Right. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. It's just what you might wish in this situation.
Yeah, it would be neat, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. At least it's not going to happen during this race, at the very least.
No. And with the blinks and the covers and the everything else that's going on, Mylon Z falls over on Poydrak's screen, and we're going to get a new check that we haven't seen yet, and it is the package.
Well, the real reward was the experience points we got along the way.
We'll see if he decides to... looks like he's walking out, so it might be a save up and see if we can do the Kinazo fight next. A lot of these fights that were considered like almost undoable at the beginning, we're at that point where we've got those experience levels under our belt. We've got the equipment that they're a lot more doable at this point in the race than they were a half hour ago.
Yeah, sometimes no matter how good you are at the game, you just need the numbers.
Mm-hmm. All the tricks and techniques can get you so far, but raw levels is always a way to help you get through some of the fights. And so both Poydrak and PK now in fights that we haven't seen anybody beat yet. So if either of these gets defeated, and Ashura falls to PK, so we're going to get another check down here. This is at the very bottom. This is in the Mazamune spot, and it's just a Dragoon Lance. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
We already got one of those, so
yeah,
money and experience points. Experience points are important.
Yeah, it's a decent chunk of experience, and like PK's got to be pretty close to endgame levels now, I think.
Yeah, he's got to be getting close. And Cecil gets berserked. We do no longer have access to cover on Poydrak's side.
And there's the reset. Wasn't able to get him berserked fast enough to do a number of hits before that wave wiped out most of his team. You can see it looks like he's going to give it another try, though.
Yeah, wave does damage based on, I believe, 4% of Kainatsu's current hit points.
It's proportional to his hit points. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, which is why it is
percentage...
so awful if you run into him at the element spot, for example.
Yeah.
And Tybalt is through the alt gauntlet and is rewarded with a summoning orb. Not super useful right now.
Oh, the number of spots that it could be at is getting lower and lower. We've got the Sealed Cave, we've got this Kainazo fight, and I believe we've got Antlion.
Yeah, Sealed Cave, Asura spot, and we did not complete Cave Value.
Yeah, and the Antlion is the boss there.
Correct. I have a feeling our runner...
in good position.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just say Poydrak's in good position if he's able to defeat this this turtle here. If this heal can get out, doesn't want to try though.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, I expect our runners are going to put off the Sealed Cave as long as possible, because it's going to be extra slow, because A, you have the required door fights, and B, we have not found a warp caster.
Yep, both of those are reasons that makes it extra long. Poydrak is in really good position by being in this place. Just as far as we know, one of the places that still needs to be checked. However, I think his team is the lowest levels of all four of our featured runners, so he might not have quite the oomph that anybody else might have in that same spot. Looks like Microporgs is heading to that sealed cave though, and PK going back into that into the Cave Bahamut. So we might have all three of them being battled for at the same time, and whichever one happens to be the one that has the Sand Ruby is going to be rewarded big time.
Yeah, roll your D3. Hope you get lucky. But
it's going to be a while before Microporgs get there with those doors.
Yeah, and as we're seeing on Poydrak's screen, this is a spot where the speed difference is so great that you need to queue up the Thor Rage before you see the animation of the water going up in order to make sure you can dispel it in time to avoid the wave.
Yeah, timing in this game is real precise, and it's very difficult to get it right in certain spots.
Right. Once an ability is in the action queue, it does not get removed. So, like, even if you dispel the wave, the water, the wave can still go off. Because it doesn't check when resolving the ability, am I still in wave status?
Right. But we did get the Zerk up on Cecil, and we're able to stop the first wave. So we might be in a good situation now, because each hit that Cecil does is going to reduce the damage of that next wave. And with Rosa healing up, we might be able to tank this second wave and not worry about it. So here's going to be the real deal here. And yeah, only about 500 max. So yeah, I think Poydrak should be through this fight.
Oh yeah, he's hiding in the shell. This is Poydrak's fight at this point.
So yeah, that was well played. It took him a couple tries to get the timing and everything and the turns right, reshuffling the order a little bit, changing the battle speed, but knew that there was going to be a sweet spot and just needed to find it. And once he did, he was able to take care of it. And there is the Sand Ruby.
All right. One of the many checks that nobody wants to do right now is mandatory and required for Go mode. And we've got Party Rock on PK's side.
And that was one that was available basically from the beginning because you could jump down to the underworld. But as you mentioned, nobody's going to want to do that Kane Adzo at base levels. So it makes sense that people were going around doing all these other checks first, because you just need some help in order to do that fight.
Yep, and at this point, we can now say that Moon is haunted.
Yeah. Well, and also we saw that yeah.
Luca Key could have had value.
Yeah, it was hard to know until then. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, and how about fourth Rosa?
There's a lot of Rosa in this seed. If only duplicates were available.
Yeah.
And so, having completed all the objectives, Poydrak is rewarded with the crystal, and now the thing is, as I mentioned before the Kane Adzo fight, I think Poydrak had probably the lowest levels of any of our four featured runners. The question is, does he want to do something crazy with Edward, or does he want to find a way to do some grinding before heading to Zerims?
Yeah, and Microcorgs found a Baron Key in the depths of the sealed cave and is keeping it, curiously.
It might be the experience that he got through the doors, and looks like he's utilizing some push speed to jumps shenanigans as a substitute for that warp spell.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot more jumping shenanigans as far as getting early exits from room than I realized. I know the major skips as far as key items. I clearly have a lot to learn as far as like skipping exits. So
having to fight a few of those trapdoors on the way down means that his team is now more powerful. He's going to go ahead and go for those Feymarch fights. Eventually he'll get to that all-important Kane Adzo fight, and it's going to be a better situation for that fight because of those trapdoors that he fought on the way down to the Seal Cave.
Yep, and Poydrak just bought a big stack of vampires. Are you pondering
Ooh.
what I'm pondering?
I think we're going to see some 1200 HP strats or 1300 HP strats. Some amount of HP strats.
Yeah. But you did forget your I think so brain.
Sure. it's something like that.
New Animaniacs is really good if people have not seen it yet, but that is super off topic right now.
So the big question that we have as that pass is going to be used pretty soon here is whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
That's right. We have almost 500 randomized appearances for Zeromus at this point. They're from a wide variety of games and other media, and you never quite know what you're going to get. Except there's a lot of Sephiroth in there. Skull Kitty likes Sephiroth.
Oh, except I got faked out because Poydrak was in Toria, but says, nope, not yet. Gotta do some more shopping.
Keeping us in suspense. But I guess that does give people more time to get their guesses in, and or throw out some more flags.
Well, I think Poydrak found what he needs of those Cure 3s. And while other people are fighting some things and doing some shopping here, once again, want to give a shout out to the Restream team tonight. We got Scala Kitty, the Princess of Pixels herself, doing the restreaming. We've got Nth on the tracking, who's been very helpful in knowing exactly what we need when we forgot it. So big shout outs to Nth. And I also always love to give a big shout out to everybody over at the Randomania Network for being partners with Free Enterprise for so long, and is a wonderful home for our Friday night community race.
Yeah, big shout out to the various networks we partner with, including Randomania, for helping us show this wonderful game to a broader audience.
And Poydrak still doing shopping. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of shops in this game, and so there's just nice trinkets you want to get. You want to have all of your mementos of such a fun game you just played.
And
Go to
some
the
of them are
gift shop
shiny.
in every town.
But shiny.
I gotta get this Agart whistle to remind me of the last time I was at Agart.
And we have our first place finisher. Jeebus has just completed with a time of 1:10 and 1 second. So GG's to Jeebus.
And unless Poydrak is going for fake out number 2, I think he's done with his shopping and is going to be ready to head on. And we are going to finally see this butt that I want to see kicked.
Yeah, this would have been our third fake out, I think, because we went to Eblan, then we went back to Baron after another stop off in Troya. But we're getting there. It looks like we're going to start a fight now. Pick a fight with an ancient being that wants to do terrible things to the world.
So many pump fakes tonight. Microkorg, still with only 4 people in the party, is in that Kainazo fight, in the hiding and shelf mode, so it's going to be in gold mode very quickly here.
Oh, is Poydrak gonna... Oh, he's showing us the Fusoya room. Lovely.
Lovely Easter egg for the push B to jump world.
Yep, and if you skip over the tile and you talk to Zeromus, he'll just say hi. And if you talk to a certain Fusoya in the back of the Fusoya room, you can have some fun things happen. I'm not going to spoil it, but you should go hang out in the Fusoya room sometime. I first discovered it with an Owin Games flag set where you just don't fight Zeromus and he lets you run around. But apparently you can do it with jumping too.
Yes, I will also second, if you haven't explored the Fusoya room, do it.
I think the facility room has something all of us could use in these troubling times, and thank goodness 2020 is almost over.
I see Poydrak making sure that the character that he wants to throw the crystal actually throws the crystal, not being too anxious in this fight. So,
all right,
that crystal comes out, and we'll see who it is.
Yes, the butt is. The butt has a thing about stars. So, is this Resident Evil 3 Nemesis or Resident Evil 3 Remake Nemesis?
You're talking to the wrong person. That game is far too scary for me to play. So,
that is totally fair. Horror games are not my thing either.
But we are going to see a very interesting strategy here on Poydrak's screen. Gonna start off by using Star Veils with every character, and then it's gonna start throwing vampires.
That's right. We're gonna get a lot of counter nukes, and because everybody's Star Veiled, we're gonna bounce those nukes right back onto Zeromus, and we're gonna take advantage of that counterattack script, both to deal more damage to Zeromus and allow us to almost always have every Big Bang nerfed, which will make it a lot easier to survive with our low levels.
Yeah, by having at least the 1300 HP, the characters, even if a Big Bang does the most damage it can do while nerfed, will survive, and then you can heal up with those vampires.
Yep, and then eventually you switch from vampires to other items that trigger the counterattack but don't deal damage, so you can avoid the HP refill.
Yeah, I believe he bought a stack of diet food specifically for that.
Yeah, it's usually a status cure item of some kind. I'm used to seeing like antidotes and echo herbs, but diet food probably works too.
Yeah, if worse comes to worse, you can use the crystal in that spot, but the crystal has a very slow animation. And this is already a strat that you're seeing animations over and over and over again. You want to make it go faster, and those status curing items are very cheap, and they all have very quick animations. Oh, Dark Paladin chat saying that diet food doesn't actually work. I don't know. I think he bought a stack of them, so I think we're gonna see if they work or not.
And Leonhardt confirming that diet food does not work, and I'm starting to remember that conversation because I think I was having a discussion with somebody about some tracker changes I wanted to work on, and like diet food might actually be a problem here.
Well, we'll see, because I think he bought a stack of them. He might have bought a stack of something else too, but that could be a big problem if that's what he's going to be relying on. We'll see that. He's still in the vampire phase right now.
Yeah, and worst case, we can start throwing the crystal. It's going to be slower, but it's probably going to be faster than restarting the fight.
Tybalt now has defeated that Kinazo, is now in go mode as well. Yeah, he not only has the diet food, he moved him up to the top, so it definitely looks like that's what he's trying to use here. Microcorp is now into the Zeromus fight. PK not far behind. Tybalt now heading over to Kaipo to get that Sand Ruby turn in to get the crystal, and everybody's going to be just about in the same place. This is going to be a real exciting finish for our four featured runners tonight.
Yep, and we've got adamant armors on the right. We don't have any adamant armors on the left. So we'll see just how much of a difference that extra armor makes to everything.
Yeah, these other runners are going to just be using Excal, Cecil, Smash strategies. So,
And like Adamant Excalibur Cecil will do a lot of damage, especially with a White Spear at Avenger Kane backing him up.
As well as a spoony Bard.
Yeah, if we get a power shirt on that Bard, he can throw out respectable damage.
All right, now here comes. Now we're going to see the. Of course, the strategy is a lot different. We're seeing the Silk Web, of course, is like one of the best items to have for the Zeramis fight. Counts as 2 counts of the slow spell. Just makes it a lot more manageable. You have a lot more time in between your big bangs when you've got that set up.
Yeah, slow works on every enemy in the game, including final boss. It's kind of nice because like in most Final Fantasy games, bosses are just immune to ailments, period. So like getting to slow bosses is kind of nice. We still do not have a second place finisher. It could easily be one of our 4 runners here on Restream.
And it's really hard to know who it's going to be, too. My gut is saying Microkorgs, but I wouldn't be surprised if any of them.
Yeah, PK's got a Cecil dealing about 5,000 damage a hit right now, so it could also be PK.
And I know that the strategy that Poydrak is using is going to be a slower strategy, but he did have a considerable head start in the fight as well.
Right. Nobody in this race is necessarily out of contention for second place at this time.
Right.
And we've got Adamant Rosa on Tybalt's screen. Very interesting. Probably wanting to just make sure that the power couple stays alive no matter what. Because that 3,000 hit point Cecil is not going to die to a big bang anytime soon.
Right, and this way, like, even if a high roll big bang comes through, that extra magic defense should be enough to keep her alive, even though she might be slightly under what we would say would be, like, undieable hit point levels.
Yeah, and Young and Kane both have more than enough hit points to survive, so everything should be fine for Tybalt to clear this Zeramis fairly easily.
And it looks like Poydrak has switched on over to the Crystal as the item here.
Yes, and Jeebus is raiding us with the party of 1. Welcome, Jeebus. GG on your win.
We are now close to the end here, really for all of our runners. Although PK down to just Rosa and Yang. Cecil still up over a Microkorg screen.
And a snap, crackle, pop. There goes Zeramis. PK.
Yang and Rosa is enough.
Second place finisher for PK is 1:20 and 35 seconds. GG to PK.
Yeah, big GGs to PK4787 on that one, and we will see if he would like to come in for an interview. Meanwhile, re-upping some Berserks over on Microkorg's screen, and I believe that was a single target nuke, which means we are in the second phase, so we are closing in on the end for Microkorgs, and we know we're at the we've passed the vampire phase for Poydrak, so pretty close there as well.
Yes, and we are joined by tonight's second place finisher, PK4787. Welcome, GG's.
Thank you.
So tell me what you feel about this seed. So much was available to you right at the beginning, but it ended up being that tough boss Kainazo holding the final key.
Yeah, it felt like one of those, you know, after the moon kind of only got me the Pinktail and that Luca key. I chased that Luca key because I figured someone might be done by now. We're like 65 minutes into something where you have a pretty early Excal Cecil, so maybe this is the rabbit hole I need to chase. But then that was also sort of why I went to the Fey March afterwards. I was like, if it, there are a couple places I think I'm ruling out given the quality of everyone in this race.
Yeah, there was a few spots that nobody was going to want to do, and that Asura Kainatsu was definitely the one. We have Microcorgs just finishing in third with 1:22 and 17 seconds.
Yeah, I think there was a time when the Kainatsu, the trek down the sealed cave, and the antlion were all being fought at the same time, and we knew that one of them had to be the Sand Ruby, and whoever got there first was going to be in a big advantage. And it turned out Poydrak actually got to that first, but he's doing the 1300 HP strategy, and so you were able to overcome him within the race by just like Excalibur Cecil. Like,
yeah, I hated resetting out of all of that free XP doing all of those doors fights, but
yeah,
gotta go fast, and the moon gave me, I think, just enough to be comfortable. Plus that Pinktail, although that Big Bang hit Rosa really hard for having an adamant armor on, I got a little worried there. But GG's to everyone. I know Microcorgs just wrapped up, so I will I thank you, everyone. Thanks Rex and Pixel for the comms, and Scala for restreaming, and Nth for tracking. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, PK, and GG's again.
Yeah,
right,
thanks for racing and letting us commentate you.
Oh, anytime.
Poydrak has forfeited that, but GG's to Poydrak for carrying on through with that race and that Zeromus fight. And we are joined by our third place finisher, Microcorgs. GG's.
Thank you. Hello, Pixel. Hello, Rex.
How you doing?
Doing all right.
What do you feel about this race and the push B to jump sort of world that we threw you into this week?
Well, I'm a big fan of the push B to jump flag. It's so much fun. It changes the game. The base game, of course, stays the same, but it just feels faster. I love skipping things, so I really enjoyed the seed. And I don't know if you noticed, I bought the perfect number of life potions.
Oh, did you get down to exactly 0 at the end?
I think I went into the Z fight with 3 left, and I think I used them all, and that was all I needed.
Nice.
I kind of panicked when I saw Wyvern.
Sure.
Yeah, mandatory Wyvern at low levels.
Yeah, and I forgot about, what is it, Witchburn, the thing that makes it all.
Yeah, Witchburn.
Yeah.
And so I felt silly because I reset on the Wyvern Flash, and then as I was resetting, I saw it say Stone, and then as I'm preparing to go back, I don't remember if it's going to cast Stone on everyone at once or not. So I was just terrified, and I still wanted to throw a Star Veil just in case that was going to happen.
Yeah, Wyvern is a terrifying foe no matter what flags you've got for him.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm trying to remember. I guess the moon dive wasn't necessary, was it? Because everything was. Yeah,
right.
Sand Ruby was. Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't, but there was a lot of free.
Sorry, go ahead, Rex.
There were a lot of free bosses. There were a lot of free bosses up there, and that really powered up your team experience-wise. Like that really helped you get to the point where you were able to finish a lot of the rest of the seed after that too. So.
Yeah, that's true. And I took that one random fight just to power up. Yeah, and then of course it led to the adamant. So yeah, I'm glad I went there when I did, and I'm glad I ran from the fights that I ran from.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was kind of important to go up there, even though it didn't really give you anything important, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. Yeah, because basically I think the door grind finished me off levels wise.
Yeah, I think the most exciting things were the Spoon, the Zeus Gauntlet, and the Pigtail on the moon.
Oh yeah, and my whole battle strategy was just revive Eddie after every Big Bang.
Sure. Well, once again, GG's Microcorgs on your third place finish and second of our featured runners to finish this race tonight. And do you have any final thoughts?
No, just big thank yous to everyone that puts this on. You two in the booth, our tracker, our restreamer, everyone watching. It's a lot of fun. I've been so happy to be doing this basically since February is when I started doing this, and it's just become a pretty big part of my life. And I appreciate being able to do this. A lot of fun.
Yep, we have
Well,
fun
thank
here.
you
That's
for
the important thing.
Thank you for being part of the community too. So. All right, GG's again.
I got you. Yep. Good night.
Yep.
All right, that's Mike Records, our third place finisher tonight,
Yep.
and I think we've got somebody else in the booth.
Yes, we have now Tybalt, our fourth place finisher, 1 hour, 24 minutes, 48 seconds. Antondale has also finished in fifth place, 1 hour, 26 minutes, 35 seconds. And welcome to Tybalt. GG's, you are in fourth place. How do you feel?
Pretty good. I thought that went pretty smoothly. For the most
Yeah,
part.
you were the first one to take the dive into the Tower of Zot and go up against that wyvern, which ended up being required. So really interesting routing choices there, because you were able to find that Rosa up there and able to basically take out two objectives in one go. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, when I got up there, I usually try and check the boss, so if I can't take it out right then and there, I can at least prep myself for the boss that's there.
Sure.
And just having the cane with the Dragoon Spear was perfect at the time.
Yeah, you were able to get through, and it was a bit of a nail biter, but you got there.
I was hoping. And I'd forgotten that the Mega Nuke was turned off. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, Microcorgs had expressed a similar sentiment, a bit of a panic about Wyvern appearing, and then, no, but wait, that's just a single target stone. This is doable.
So you also saw all those free fights up on the moon. What were you thinking of when you were clearing out boss after boss, but just not getting anything that you really needed?
I was trying to also think of, the logic with push B to jump. The logic doesn't change, so you have to keep that in mind of where you've picked up key items to know where you can probably find your next one, or your next one's not going to be locked behind. And not coming up with any items, I'm like, where else? I mean, I've just got like Luca, Tower, Feymarch. It's like, where do I want to go?
Yeah, at one point we had all three of the possible bosses being fought at once, so it was like, okay, which of these three runners is going to get go mode first? Who picked the right boss?
The only reason I walked out of the Luca cave was I had already gotten all the levels from the few doors that I had already hit.
Okay, we were wondering about that.
Yeah, if you don't have a Tella or a Fu or even Sirens, the door grind is actually quite optimal. It's a little bit easier than a Macjack grind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we only saw 5 unique characters tonight, I think.
Yeah, only the 5. Yeah, distinct 7, but not guaranteed. Really does have a kicker in there.
Another thing that I thought was interesting about your race was it looked like you were like holding off on doing ordeals. Was there any reason for that decision?
Ordeals is usually a longer check, and if I had found like a Tella or a Fu or even like an Edge to steal Sirens, I was actually going to then go to Ordeals to get the Sea Salt level 1, so if I had 10 key items, you would get quad the experience and just get shot straight up.
That's clever, I like it.
Because he comes at base level 1 at that point.
Well, GG's on your finish again, and did you have any final thoughts about your race tonight or the push P to jump world in general?
No, not really. I was just I didn't mean for Yang to get experience off the first door. I forgot to take him out because he was the perfect agility anchor. Because I couldn't find a curse string. Was there a curse string in the seed?
I don't think anybody saw one.
Yeah, we didn't see one on screen, I don't think.
Okay, because I checked most of the underground shops, so. But no, other than that, I felt I did fairly well.
Yeah, it was fun watching you. Thanks for letting us restream and commentate for you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the restream. I know Scala does a ton of work here in the Free Enterprise community, and thanks to the commentators, both Rex and Pixel, and thanks N for doing the tracking. We couldn't put this show on without you guys.
Well, GG's and everybody that was Tybalt, our fourth place runner tonight, and our the third of our featured runners to finish. Quidrek has declined an interview. So with that, we are going to go ahead and send you all on over to Eldritch Mecca, who's currently doing a casual race against Belmont's Bannersmen. So we're going to go ahead and take you on over there. And I want to echo what Tybalt said. Big shout outs to the Restream team and everybody over at Randomania. And thank you for watching tonight.
Yes, thanks to everyone who makes this community so great. And if you enjoyed this wackiness of Push B to Jump, we do a weekly jumping club race every Wednesday evening. So you can come and hang out with us and try this silliness for yourself. And please have a great night.